Hello everybody, welcome to the video. Oh shit, I'm not gonna look at that. All right, so here it is, here's the lesson, right? And the idea is that we split the lesson part of it into two. Now, I don't know how you want to work this, but I think just to start off with, until you realize or you figure out how to do it, maybe just half and half, all right? So the top half is going to be defining these 15 words. And if you can't get all 15 of them in there, then half's not enough room. So basically what you want to do is you write the word down, and our first word is anthropophobiac. Okay, so you have to write it anthropophobiac. Goodness me, is that even how you spell that? Anthropop. Yeah, okay. Now at this point, this is where I'm leaving it up to you. I don't require it, but this is the point at which some people in the past have said, okay, this is the root, and then maybe underline the root, and then they know that the second part, phobia, this is the suffix right here. Okay? So you would do it in a different color, wouldn't you, obviously, if you were going to distinguish between them. You do not have to do that. Some people find it helpful. If you do your first quiz and get, 50 out of 50, then you're like, hey, whatever I'm doing is working. If you get 20 out of 50, you might want to come up with other ways to remember things, but that's a way you can do it. I've seen people write it in different colors. This is a fairly straightforward one because it's only a two-parter, but I've seen others which have 3 and 4 parts to it, okay? So essentially you write the word down, then you give us the definition of it. So what is the definition of anthropophobiac? Somebody, you do it? Or you know it? Yes.
A person who fears mankind.
Yeah, basically fearing mankind. You fear people, fear mankind. I mean, sometimes the actual literal definition sounds so weird, right? That you got to put it in your own words. But essentially, phobiac is somebody who has a dread, a fear of. Anthrop is mankind, so it's fear people. Not just mankind. You probably fear womankind as well, but I think mankind goes across, everybody. But it's someone who's afraid of people, an anthropophobiac. They won't leave the house much. They're afraid of people. I know everybody likes to say, I don't want to be around people, but it's an actual thing, a state. And we know now from that little study that IAC, if it ends in IAC, isn't that a person? Isn't that what the definition of that is? You expect me to know these things, right? Don't be ridiculous. What's IAC? Can you just do this quiz? Was it on the quiz? Let's see. I got too much in my brain. So not IAC, but AC makes a noun. Isn't it interesting that it makes a noun designating a person is usually ist, like a philanthropist. So why isn't this anthropophobist, right? Unfortunately, I wish these things were so much more like math or physics. This is how it works, but it's not. It's language, so it doesn't always work right. People have changed it over the years. So ac makes a noun, an anthropophobiac is somebody who has anthrophobia. So it doesn't say person though, which kind of sucks, doesn't it? Because it's got to be a person, right? I suppose it could be an animal, but. So next one, philanthropy. Let me try and keep to a color scheme and not just use random colors. So the next one you do is philanthropy. And again, if you want to say, well, the phil is the root, and anthrop then is, well, it's also a root. See, this is a two-rooter. And again, I don't know that you have to do this. If you think it'll help you, you can. If you want to divide up the sections, so phil, anthropy, you can put a line there if you want. Anthropophobia, we're starting with some fairly clear ones. It doesn't always get this clear. But philanthropy then literally means man love, right? Love of man. So you can see how ambiguous that is. What does love of man mean? Could be 10 different things. Well, what it is somebody, a philanthropist is somebody who just liked, if an anthropophobiac fears people, and philanthropist kind of likes them, and they want to do good for them. So you always get these rich people, well, not always the rich people, but a lot of rich people are philanthropists, and they share money and they try and help people out. That's philanthropy, the love of humanity, helping humanity. So whether or not you look these up or you know them off the top of your head, but feel free to look them up. But this is essentially, someone who's a philanthropist is, you could even do something like a do-gooder, although that has a bit of a negative connotation. You know, basically loves mankind. You know, they're charitable, they're a giver. That's what a philanthropy is. That's the act of it. So again, if we're looking at the Y at the end, makes an abstract noun. Yeah, the abstract noun of having philanthropy. And if you're a philanthropist, is a person who is there. Okay? So we'll do one more. I don't going to have to go through every single one of them, but misanthrope. So we've got the lovely. So you can see all three of these first ones are from anthrop. And we know that mis, because it's over here as a prefix. Well, did they not put mis up there? Is that not one of them yet? It must be later on. I guess we've just got to figure out that mis means, oh, miso. So it's up there. Isn't that weird? Why isn't that a prefix? So many unanswered questions. So mis, we drop the O. So that's one, and this is one. So basically, we've come the full circle, right? Now it's somebody who hates people. So that's different from fearing people. You actually hate people. So again, a misanthrope. There's actually I think there's a French novel called A Misanthrope. So that's how the top half of it goes, okay? Clearly I'm not getting all 15 of them in. But then again, I'm writing pretty big and I'm on the board. My writing is usually pretty small. So you go through them all, you look them up. I mean, whatever device you're using to look them up, from your phone to your computer to a dictionary, which is a little bit cumbersome, but if you use a dictionary in the classroom, that's not a problem. So part two then, the second part of it is so this is the, if you like, the exercise that's given down there. There's usually 15 words, but every now and again there's more, and every now and again there's fewer. So, but then you've got to do the new words bit, all right? So the new words bit is directly related to the number of what we've got over here. We have 7 roots, plus 7 roots is 14, plus 2 suffixes, that's 16. So we got to come up with 16 new words. All right, so you can use whatever website you want, you can do it however you want, but I need a new word and a definition. So what we got? Anthrop. Can we come up with a word for anthrop that isn't one of the first 3? Anthropomorphic. Okay, I like it. So you don't, I mean, you need to make it clear by numbering it, so I know that this one is, so anthropomorphic, right? And that, morph is a word will come up later on. Literally, that means taking human form, I think. Is that right? Does that sound about right? Because I think this is form, and anthro taking human form. We use it in the same way as we use personification. All right, it's basically giving non-inanimate objects life. Somebody want to look it up? I don't mind you having your phones active or your computers active in this class. I'll trust you not to be on a bunch of crazy websites all the time. But what is the actual dictionary definition of anthropomorphic?
Having human characteristics.
Having human characteristics, all right, there it is. And you don't have to put having, you know, you don't have to write it word for word. Basically, if you know that anthropomorphic is human characteristics, that's fine. So the second one then, we've got to make a word out of fill. There's tons of these, but we want to stay away from anything here, so we don't get philanthropy. But there's tons of words that end in fill or file. Can you think of any of them? Yeah. Phil, okay, philosophy, we'll go with that one. We'll use it as a starter rather than an end. Obviously, file, you've got things like bibliophile, someone who likes books. Anglophile, somebody who likes English people. Yeah, there are a few out there. Philosophy then is the love of knowledge. I believe Soph is knowledge. Okay, so love of knowledge, or wanting to be, you know, informed and knowledgeable. Nice. What about the third one then? We've got a miso. Isn't miso soup in some culture? Soup? Is it bad soup? Sausage soup. Miso meaning hate. What we got? Anybody got a new word for miso? Misophonia. It's a nice word because I believe it also incorporates one of these words, doesn't it? Oh no, it's later on. I'm getting my lessons all mixed up. No, because phonic is here. Oh, there we go, sound. Phonic, I knew it was. So misophonia, which I'm surprised they didn't do, but that's good. Hating sounds. I think it's probably hating a specific sound rather than all sounds. You know, like what's people's number one hatred? If I asked you, I think I asked you on your form, what's 3 things that make you happy? Did I ask you what's 3 things that annoy you? What does everybody say when there's 3 things that annoy you? The sound of people chewing, right? That's a big misophonia right there. Although I do believe that also has its own specific name as well. So, hatred, I don't know, do we say noise or do we say sound or?
For specific sounds.
Of a specific, so it's a specific sound. So misophonia is that. So that's how you do it, right? I would go all the way through my 7 roots, and then I would go through my 7 prefixes, and then I would go through my 2 suffixes, and that would be the lesson done. However you find your words is up to you, and let's face it, with the new world of asking questions and getting answers from AI, you know, that's okay, as long as you put them down and define them. So that's basically how we do our lessons until we do them differently. But for now, that's it.